Muse, begin the story again, 20 years after Odysseus went to war. Begin from the time Odysseus was trapped on the island of Calypso. Tell how Athena begged Zeus to bring him home, and how she went to find Telemachus, Odysseus' son, to teach him how to be a man. Muse, tell us how their house was in great disorder, and how suitors had come wanting to marry his wife and become the next king. Begin, Muse, from this time when Athena landed on the island of Ithaca to meet Telemachus. When the bright-eyed goddess landed on the white sands of the beach of Ithaca, she heard the loud voices of the suitors in Odysseus' house, drinking Odysseus' wine and eating his cattle. Penelope, his wife, sat upstairs in her room, weaving and weaving the death shroud for Odysseus' father. She had promised the suitors to marry one of them after she finished weaving it, but at night she was secretly unweaving it so that she would never finish. When young Telemachus saw Athena approaching the house, she was disguised as an old man. Telemachus, as a good young man should, went to greet the guest. "Welcome, friend. Do you need a place to stay for the night? Come inside and have something to eat. Take a bath too, if you like, but don't tell me who you are until after you've let me take care of you." Wise Athena went inside, handing over her sparkling spear, and began to eat and drink with Telemachus. "I see that you are a young man. Too young to be a master of this great house. Tell me, where is your father? Has he not come home from Troy? That kingdom fell 10 years ago, and Helen, who the greedy prince Paris kidnapped, is already home again with her husband. Is it possible that Odysseus is still lost somewhere?" Telemachus hung his head sadly. "I'm the unluckiest man alive. All of this belonged to my father, but he's not here to enjoy it. These men drink his wine and eat his food and abuse my mother, who is still waiting for my father to return. Right now, my father's bones may be heaped up in a pile on some beach or drifting below the waves of Poseidon's sea." Athena looked at Telemachus with her bright eyes. "My name is Mentes. My ships are down the beach by a woody hill. In fact, I knew Odysseus. The men here tonight are nothing compared to him." Telemachus sighed. If only he had died. How much better that would be. Then he would be honored as a great hero, but now nobody even speaks of him. I wish that he would come home and kill these suitors." Athena's gray eyes began to shine brighter. "Listen, Telemachus, take a ship and go looking for news of your father. Why do you loaf around here feeling sorry for yourself? You must take your life into your own hands. Gather men together and sail to sandy Pylos. Nestor lives there, a friend of Odysseus. See what he can tell you. Then go to Sparta and ask if King Menelaus has any news. If you hear that Odysseus is dead, go home and build a tomb for him and give your mother in marriage to a man. Remember what I said and take my advice." With these words, bright-eyed Athena flew away like an owl. Telemachus was shocked. He realized this must have been a god. Suddenly, Telemachus felt brave. In the morning, he began putting a crew together and gathered men for his journey, but he didn't tell his mother about his plans. Meanwhile, Athena returned to Zeus to remind him to send Hermes to free Odysseus on Calypso's island. "Father Zeus, it's time to send Odysseus on his way back home. You promised to send Hermes. Calypso keeps Odysseus trapped, wanting him for her husband. Poseidon, your brother, sinks Odysseus' ships because he's angry with him. Now Poseidon is in Africa. If Odysseus is quick, he may reach home before Poseidon returns. Zeus, with his lightning bolts, turned to Hermes. Hermes, be my messenger. Go tell Calypso that Odysseus must go home. He has endured enough. Tell her that Odysseus must make a raft to cross the sea. He will drift miserably for 20 days, but I will make sure that he lands on the island of a friendly people who will bring him home. Hermes heard these words. Then, strapping sandals to his feet, he flew across the sea. He found Calypso by her cave, braiding her hair. A mighty fire was burning, and the air smelled of oranges. Ah, my dear friend Hermes, I hope you've not come to bring me bad news. Tell me, have you visited to make me happy or miserable? Calypso, Zeus ordered me to come. He says it's time to send Odysseus on his way. You've kept him locked up here too long. Tell him to make a raft and drift for 20 days. Zeus will help him reach the island of a friendly people who will bring him the rest of the way. Calypso shuddered. How dare you take away a man I saved? I found him floating in the sea and took him here to my cave, my home. I pitied him, and Zeus did nothing. Now he wants me to give up this man who I love? Let him go, Calypso, or risk incurring Zeus's anger. I don't care either way. Calypso knew that Zeus must be obeyed. She agreed to send Odysseus home, and Hermes vanished. Odysseus was sitting on a rock by the sea, watching the wine-dark waves crash, and wanted to die. Every second of every day of every year, he thought of home, and of Penelope, and of Telemachus. He had no idea that Calypso was coming to set him free at last.